Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of my mission experiences here. I'm Jake Passy. I'm back with another episode from Ushuaia. On the last episode, we saw Carter Rathmann. He was on here and he talked with us for a little bit, which was awesome. It was really good to catch up with him a little bit more and to reminisce a little bit on our missions. So I hope you guys are able to enjoy these episodes, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode that we have here today. All right, to start behind us here, we've got this picture. This I discussed a little bit on the episode with Carter, a little bit with the episode prior to that. This was Super Consejo, or it was a super conference for all of the leaders in the mission, all the sister training leaders, all the district leaders, all the zone leaders, as well as all of the missionaries that were in the office and the assistants and whatnot. So it was a really cool conference. I got to see a lot of my mission companions from prior transfers, and it was just, a really good learning experience. This is the silly picture from that. While I was at that training, that conference, I was sitting there, and all of a sudden one of the secretaries got up, walked out. Then he walked back in with this big old box, and he goes, "Elder Passy, you have a package that just got delivered." He hands it to me. And this was a package I guess I was waiting for a little bit, and it happened to get delivered while I just happened to be at the mission office. So I wouldn't have gotten it for a couple weeks, if not 6 to 9 weeks, if I hadn't just happened to be there that day when it got delivered. So that was pretty cool. I got those. I got Takis. I got hot Cheetos. A few of the things I really missed. I also got Pop-Tarts. I remember I wanted Pop-Tarts so bad in my mission. So my mom sent me a box of Pop-Tarts. So that was pretty fun. I had to take a picture with them and send them to my mom. These sunglasses right here, we actually bought off of a Brazilian guy in the street on Facundo Quiroga in our area. Carter and I were walking down the street, and some guy's like, "Do you guys want to buy some sunglasses?" And so we're like, yeah. So we bought a pair from him. They're like $2. So they're pretty cool. They're these fake Oakleys, and they were pretty sweet. Here's Elder Allen. My mom, I talked to her on the phone today, and she's like, you should do a phone call with Elder Allen, or a Zoom call with Elder Allen, and talk about you guys' experiences together. Elder Allen is awesome. I have a great love for Elder Allen. Super, super smart guy. When I actually got married, I called him a couple days before, and I was like, "Dude, I'm getting married in a couple days." He's like, "When and where?" I was like, "Here in Arizona." He's like, "I'm driving down." And sure enough, he shows up at my reception. They'd driven 12 hours straight to get to the reception. They stayed for like 30 or 40 minutes, and then they drove back 4 hours to Vegas to go be in Vegas, him and his buddies. So I was like, what the heck? But I was really close to Elder Allen. He was my zone leader for 4 transfers in Ushuaia, and we had a lot of fun together. We really did. Here is Elder Rathmann and I. This picture right here, a couple days before I gotten sick, and I literally slept for like 2 days straight in this picture, or before this, and it was crazy because poor Carter. I woke up a couple times from like deep sleep, and he was like sitting there at his desk, like playing with the Rubik's Cube or playing with Truco cards. Poor guy was so bored. He's like, "Can we go do something, please?" And I'm like, "I'm sick, bro. I'm sorry." This is Elder Woodrum. So I talked about this in the episode with Carter. This was Elder Woodrum and Elder Rathmann's first time trying mate. I have the video on my hard drive, and I'll have to pull that out again when we go over all the pictures from the entire mission and re-talk about some of the stories. But this is just a picture from that, and that's Elder Woodrum getting ready to take his first drink. When I actually served in this area and I lived in this apartment, that was my desk, the desk that Elder Woodrum has right there. And so I loved that apartment. I loved my apartment in Montelivia as well. This is just a dog from one of the bus stations. I don't know why this picture's on here. It's kind of funny. There's Montelivia. We saw this picture with Carter. I think we also saw the episode before that too. So it's just beautiful, and this mountain range is just gorgeous, and I loved being and having that as part of my area. It's crazy because right here, while I was in Ushuaia, actually, so I was told there was like a world leadership conference that was held in Ushuaia, and they like shut down Ushuaia for like 3 days. But I guess like President Trump was there, and a couple other major world leaders had gone to Argentina for some reason to discuss some sort of political standpoint on something. Anyways, they stayed up in this super, super nice hotel up here. And that was pretty cool. All the members were like, did you know Trump's here? I was like, no, the more you know. So supposedly that happened. I've never actually confirmed if that had happened or not, but supposedly it did. Here's the bay. This is actually on a hike that we did for a zone conference, I think, something like that. It's pretty cool. I talked about in this right here in this paragraph, I talked about divisions with Elder Allen, and we went to go stop by this guy's house that I had taught when I was in the Centro area. His name was, I think, Juan. Yep, Juan. And we were teaching him. He was really interested in the gospel, but we show up at his house and they're going to have his grandson's birthday party. And they had a bunch of like emoji, like giant balloon ball things. And I remember we walked in, he's all like, we're like, oh, we're here to teach you a lesson. And he's like, okay. And he hands us a pump and he's like, while you're teaching me, can you pump these up with me? And so we sat and we pumped up these like inflatable ball things as we taught him a lesson. And then he wanted us to stay. And I think he fed us and a couple things, but the guy straight up had us working for him, which is hilarious. Just cool picture that I took in Dos Banderas when we were going up to see Flavio. I saw this little stream running and I was like, oh, I got to take a picture of that. It's so cool. So and took a picture up there. Too bad it was a little bit blurry, but that's all right. I remember the time that we went to go do this, we actually took a member with us, Hermano Sanchez, Ivan Sanchez, and he went up there with us, and it was cool because we went and gave Flavio's little sister Julissa a blessing, and we got up there, and they were very, very poor family, very, very poor, very, very humble, and she was just so excited to have us there. The mom was, and that's why we took Ivan with us, is because we knew her husband wasn't home and we wanted to be able to go in the house. So we took Ivan with us so that we could have a member there with us. Anyways, we show up and she's cooking mondongo, which is cow stomach, and she made it for us, and she's like, please eat. And so Iban and all of us ate cow stomach, and I remember just plain cow stomach. That's it. I think she may have given us a little bit of mayonnaise to go on top of it. And Argentine mayonnaise is different from U.S. mayonnaise. It isn't no Food Light mayonnaise or anything like that. So in Argentina, a lot of times they would have like giant, like one time literally we had members come out and put a 3-gallon bucket of mayonnaise on the table. That only happened like once or twice in my mission. A lot of times they'd have like these big gallon sized bags, like squirt bags that they'd put out on the table, and they use mayonnaise on everything in Argentina. That's what they covered noodles with, and they put that on milanesas. And honestly, the mayonnaise there is just next level. It's so good. I didn't like mayonnaise before my mission. I really like Argentine mayonnaise, and U.S. mayonnaise are just not as great, but it is what it is. Anyways, we ate mondongo at their house with mayonnaise, and it was just boiled. So they'd boil it, and if it's not boiled for long enough, it's like chewing a rubber band, literally just sitting there and just nonstop chewing. But luckily, she had cooked it really well, and so it was like it pretty much was dissolve in your mouth kind of thing. Still don't love the taste of mondongo. The best way of explaining how mondongo tastes is if you've ever been inside of a chicken coop, the smell of that, so like chicken poop, that smell is how mondongo tastes. Like legitimately, it's not good. I don't love mondongo. I had mondongo a few times that was cooked in a certain way with certain sauces that was delicious. They used to do mondongo empanadas, so good, but it has to be cooked a very certain way. This is Carter and I drinking a Coke. We loved Coke. Carter was a snack fanatic. Every time we left the apartment, he's like, hey, we got to stop at the tienda and get a Coke and a alfajor. And so that's what we did. That was our thing together. That was like our little go-to thing every day. We'd stop by the tienda. We'd either get a Coke or a Sprite or a Manaus drink and an alfajor, which was really, really cheap. It was like $2 for both. But that was kind of our thing that we did together that we had fun doing. And so that was just what we did. We spent money on that. Here's us eating at Karina's house. We always always ate at Karina's house. Actually, we made these they were crepes. It was a crepe lasagna. And so I actually made it with Karina. She taught me how to make it. You'd put down a crepe that they made, and then you put sauce and cheese, and then you put it down another crepe, sauce, cheese. And we did that 6 or 7 times. So it was like super thick, and it was so good. Best lasagna I've ever had in my entire life. Like to this day, so good. It was really fun. I still haven't been able to make it since then. I got transfer calls. I think that same day. I actually remember getting transfer calls. We got them super, super early in the day, and I think we actually got them while we were at Karina's house. And they called me. And the funny thing is at the beginning of this transfer, I'd been in Ushuaia for 4 transfers by this point, and so I'd been there for 6 months, and I was pretty ready and kind of antsy to get out of the area and get moving on to my next area. And at about the middle of the transfer, I was sitting there one day and I just had a very strong, overwhelming feeling that I needed to email my mission president and ask him to stay one more transfer. And I felt like it was to benefit my mission companion, Elder Rathmann, by not having a big change. Also, I felt like I was doing a good job training him. And so that's what I did. I emailed my mission president one Monday and I said, "Hey, President Salerno, I really feel like I need to stay in Ushuaia for another transfer after this one." And I got an email back immediately, which never, never, ever happened, but it was an immediate response. And he said, "I agree 100%. And I was like, okay. And so sure enough, we get transfer calls and I was pretty much expecting to stay, and I stayed. So people were like, "Oh, I can't believe you're staying for a 5th transfer in Ushuaia. You're the luckiest human being alive." And I'm like, yeah, being in an area for 5 transfers is a long time, but it ended up being 5.5 because of the way that the transfer dates rolled out. Anyways, it was a really long time to be in an area, but I did feel very, very blessed. The members knew me. The members would always tell me, they'd be like, "Elder, you just need to buy land here because you're the elder that never leaves. You should just buy land and live here permanently." And so that was the running joke with all the members in the ward, was I was the elder that never left, so I should buy land in Ushuaia. And then it was funny because I ended up staying 5.5 transfers in Caleta Livia too. Spoilers, but because of that, they would tell me the same thing. They're like, "Elder, you never leave. You're never gonna leave." I remember I went after my 3rd transfer in Caleta Livia. I'll explain this again later on, but after my 3rd transfer in Caleta Livia, I had been through 3 companions already. So I had a companion, he left, got another companion in a trio. I was training 2 elders at the same time, Elder Durfee and Elder Glenn. And Elder Durfee left. And then at the end of that, I was like, okay, 3 transfers gone. I've already had three companions in this area. I'm for sure leaving. Of course, I get called to stay and train in another trio. So I was just the elder that never left, and all the members made fun of me because I thought I was leaving. So this is really cool. One day, it was super windy, and Carter and I we'd been out knocking for hours because that's all Ushuaia was. Ushuaia was just lots of knocking. And we'd been out knocking for a couple hours, and we're up in these backwoods, back hills area. And we're like, it's cold. We've been knocking for hours. What are we going to do? And I was like, let's just go on a little exploration. Let's see how far back this road takes us. And so we just followed this road as far back as it took us up in the mountains. And it was pretty cool. But we got up there, and all of a sudden we started hearing like it had to have been just the wind whipping through the trees or something, but we literally, both of us, like swear we were hearing like whispers in the wind, which was like scary. It's something out of like a horror movie, and we're like, this is like freaking creepy. So we got out of there. We hightailed it out of there really fast, but I think I have a couple more pictures from that we'll get to here. It was a really, really cool area. And we had a lot of fun going up in that mountain as far back as we could. We hiked like all the way up the mountain, and there were houses all the way back there. It was crazy. They were literally like made out of plywood. I was like, how are these houses not like falling over? This is Elder Machado and Elder Woodrum. We were doing a planning session. Elder Rathmann and I were doing a planning session at the church, and they just happened to walk in. And so we sat and chatted with them for a little bit, and then we went on our way. This was a district meeting. I think, this is a district meeting or a P day. A lot of P days. So in Ushuaia, they have the best pizza place I've ever eaten at in my entire life. And I'd go every week and I'd get this pizza called La Mexicana, and which is funny because both of these sisters are from Mexico. But they had this pizza and it had like avocado and corn and uh, tomatoes, and it was just the best pizza I've ever had in my entire life. But we'd go eat there every Monday, and it was super cheap. They had like Monday discounts, so we'd go get like these big pizzas for like 200 pesos, which was like $8 for a giant pizza, which was like ridiculously priced in Ushuaia. So, yeah, this is a zone picture. So, um, this is Sister Campbell. She was from Mesa, Arizona too, actually. I just remember that. And then Sister Oliveira, she also got a fifth transfer in Ushuaia. And just minutes before this, I think, yeah, we were having a zone get together, but I think this is the same time we were having zone conference. Just minutes before this, Carter had gotten a nice horse bite from Elder Grant, who was just a goofball, was messing around with him. I think this is Elder Grant right here. But he gave him a horse bite, and Elder Grant was all like, or Carter's like, oh, what the heck, dude? And like got mad at him. And Sister Oliveira got mad at Carter for speaking English and then chewed him out, told him his Spanish was so bad. And I was like, bruh, he's fresh to the mission. Chill out. It was so funny. I felt bad for Carter. So, Sister Delgado from Mexico. I think she's from Mexico City. We were just taking a funny picture with her. Elder Alan. Some more pictures of them. Me. Okay, these are those pictures. This is like when we were getting far back. You could tell it was snowing and everything. When we were getting far back into the mountain range here, where we said we were like hearing whispers. I think I have this picture. There's this dead tree and we climbed up it, which I actually fell off of it after when I was trying to get down. I fell hard, but we went all the way back up in there. Right here, this tree. That thing was probably 12 feet off the ground. I climbed all the way up to the top and I slipped because it was icy. I slipped and I fell straight into snow, which thankfully caught my landing, but it freaking hurt. Carter was like looking at the pictures. He didn't even notice I fell. It was so funny. But look how pretty this is. Like the moss growing on the trees, like in these backwoods. So cool back here. It was super cool. And there were houses all the way back up in there. So it's my mom posting the weather. This is some more of our area. I remember one time we went and knocked on this lady's door back in here, and she let us in, and we got heated up, and we taught her and her son, who was like 18. I'm trying to remember their names, but they took really well to what we were teaching. And then we taught them the restoration, the plan of salvation, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And then we taught them a fourth time, and we taught them the word of wisdom. And after that, they never answered the door for us ever again, which was kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Some more pictures from this back area. I was literally up there, and then boom, fell all the way down to here. So that was kind of funny. There's some more pictures from up there. I don't know what this pointing stance is, but it's kind of funny. Yeah, let's see here. I'm not 100% sure what this is here. This is Laguna Esmeralda. I've talked about a couple times. I did this hike 3 times while I was in Ushuaia. I grew to dislike this hike very much because I did it so many times. But it was kind of fun. I'll have to come back and read this whole thing here. I'm not sure what the thing is there. I remember that the sisters had a baptism of a guy named Gabriel, which it talks about in here. He was wheelchair bound, and that was a very, very special baptism. And he was literally a golden investigator. The guy was just a spiritual powerhouse, and from what I know, he still is a spiritual powerhouse, and he just did so much to help the community. And I remember teaching him a funny story about throwing Carter under the bus yet again here. So he listens to these daily episodes, so I'm sure he'll love this. We were sitting in a lesson with Gabriel, and when we were sitting there teaching, this was like one of the very first few weeks Carter was in the mission. We're sitting there, and his house was really, really, really hot. It was super, super hot in his house. And we were sitting there, and I like start hearing something funny. I look over at Carter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's asleep. We're sitting on his ground because he didn't have any chairs. And Carter was like head to chest like this, just out cold. So like kicked him in the foot, and he like wakes up, and he's like sitting there and slowly starts to doze again and falls asleep again. It was so funny. But I totally understand how he felt, because when you're at the beginning of the mission, you have no idea what's going on, what's being said. It's so hard to try to stay in the conversation and in the moment, because it just makes things really difficult. So here's the bay where Carter and I would go skip rocks all the time. We would just walk out there and go skip rocks, as we talked about in our joint episode. And that was one of our very favorite pastimes. And truly, I felt like it was a huge blessing, not only to me, but to Carter too, to be able to go out there, skip a couple rocks when we were having a rough time, contacting or teaching or whatever, and to just talk and to really grow our relationship. And that's really why I think I'm so close to Carter today, is because of that relationship that we developed and how we bonded over something as silly as skipping rocks, but it really grew our relationship. I'm going to end it there, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching this episode. Next time, we're going to talk about Liliana some more, how we found her, where we found her, what her whole home situation was like, as well as where she worked. She worked right next door to the church. Explain more about that. And I will leave that for the next episode. Appreciate you guys watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Later, guys.